on WTA Tour Tennis, we're in Amelia Island for the second clay court event of the year.
And we check out how the American green clay courts compare with the red of Europe.
We learn about the pressures of life on the tour for the travelling pro.
And catch up with Maggie Malieva, one of tennis's brightest young stars.
But first, we're off to the Florida resort of Amelia Island, a favourite among the players for its fresh seafood, its beachside walks, and maybe the chance of plundering a victory or two on the tennis court. The tour's been steaming into Amelia Island every year since 1980. It's the second clay court stop of the season. Martina Navratilova won the inaugural event. This year's hopefuls included Conchita Martinez. The Spaniard was accompanied by new coach Carlos Tiermeyer. Gabriela Sabatini was taking part for the 11th year in a row. She'd reached 6 out of the last 7 finals. And Maggie Malieva, the number 3 seed, a finalist the previous week at Hilton Head.
No big surprises in the early stages, and at the bottom of the draw, Sabatini through to the semi-final, dropping just 4 games in 6 sets. Awaiting her, the number 8 seed, Sabine Hack. Hack, a tournament winner already this year in Jakarta, but up against a player whom the crowd have taken as their own, and who seem to thrive on it. Sabatini bidding for a place in her 7th final here at Amelia Island, and there are only a few isolated moments when her progress was threatened. For the most part, Sabatini's quickness and deftness of touch was more than enough. Time after time, the number 2 seed had the German at full stretch, and even when she got herself in trouble, she got out of it superbly. Sabatini took the first set 6-3, went to break up in the second set, and here at 5-2 was serving at match point. It had been a powerhouse performance. Into the final then, with just 9 games dropped in 8 sets. At the top of the draw, an intriguing semi-final clash between the number 1 seed, Conchita Martinez, and Magdalena Malieva, seeded 3. This a repeat of the previous week's final. Conchita began just as she'd left off at Hilton Head. Carlos Tiermeyer, her new coach, must have been delighted. After a difficult patch, Conchita's now beginning to produce the kind of play that gave her such a heady time last summer. Time after time, Malieva would get into promising situations, only to see Martinez dash them with one dream shot. After dropping the first 5 games, Malieva had to produce something out of the ordinary. But it wasn't enough. Martinez took the first set 6-2, quickly went to break up in the second, and here, 5-3 up, was at match point. Martinez was into her second final in 2 weeks, and like Sabatini, had made it through without dropping a set.
In between the opening events of the year on hard courts and carpet and the red clay season in Europe comes the green clay circuit. It's the ideal way for the players to make the transition between the surfaces. What's the difference between playing on green clay and the more traditional red?
Well, the green clay, I think, is a little bit faster than red, and I mean, it depends on what tournament you're playing also, but for the most part, I think on the red, you have to work the point a little bit more. You can slide a little bit easier, and it's a little bit different game.
Different footing. Europeans tend to be more comfortable on European red clay, and Americans who grow up on hard true tend to be more comfortable on the hard true. So I think it's like anything. It's what you're most used to, and what did you do most in your early stages.
There's also a difference in the way the two surfaces are made up. Red clay is a mixture of crushed brick and true clay in its natural state. The clay portion makes the surface bind together well, and the brick dust gives it good drainage. The red tends to be a little softer and slower to play on. Green clay is made from a crushed stone that's only found in the USA, with nothing added. But forget the science, for the players there's one big difference.
Green clay, you can at least wash out. The red clay, when it gets on your socks or so, is very difficult to get out of your clothes.
Finals day, Gabriela bidding for her 4th title at Amelia Island, Conchita beaten by Steffi at Delray Beach and the winner at Hilton Head, playing in her 3rd final in a row. Martinez made a whirlwind start. Martinez won the first 4 games in a row. Every time Sabatini faltered, she was severely punished. Kermay, of course, was Sabatini's coach when she won here in 91 and 92. Now with different allegiances, he looked again to be on the winning team. Gabriela was making him sweat. With Martinez moving so well on the green clay, she had to be inch perfect. Martinez took the first set 6-1, but game as ever, Sabatini dug in hard in the second. The second set was a tremendous battle between two players who'd been in the doldrums in recent times, but seem now to be moving back to their best. Sabatini had fought back bravely after going an early breakdown in the second set, and the crowd were giving her every possible support. But Martinez's movement in the crunch points was paying dividends. Sabatini, winner of 9 of their previous 13 meetings, had given everything, but here the Spaniard was at match point. She's now a revitalized player, and after months where she's looked as if her mind was elsewhere, she's won her second title in successive weeks. She's going to prove a real handful when she moves to the red clay of Europe.
Top Like to most tour players about their first big win, and more often than not, they'll recall their triumph down to its finest details. Maggie Malieva is no exception. Winning her first tour title in Moscow in September '94, she arrived in Europe the following month at the top of her game for the $800,000 European Indoor Open. 2 weeks after winning her first tour title, the 20-year-old from Bulgaria had won her second. Maggie's older sister Manuela had won the Zurich event the previous year, her last win before retirement. Maggie was delighted to keep the family hold on the title.
Zurich was the biggest tournament I've ever won, so this was huge. And I just felt great, you know. I went home and I just had such a good feeling about everything. I went out a lot with my friends, and every time we would go out, I would say, I pay, I have to pay for Moscow, for Zurich, and so it was great. And Chicago, then I won Chicago also.
In fact, the winning feeling is one Maggie Malieva has grown to like. With her wins last year in Moscow and Zurich, and more recently at the Ameritech Cup in Chicago in February, she's now climbed to 9th in the tour rankings, helped by solid performances such as her semi-final performance at Amelia Island. Watching her progress at all 4 venues was coach Francois Franier, whom Maggie credits with much of her recent success.
It has a lot to do with Francois, because I really like the things he tells me. I like his views on tennis. It has also a lot to do with me just getting more experience. Because no matter how talented or how good you are, you need to go through situations and learn how to deal with them, certain matches, how to play certain points. So it's experience, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of practice.
As former coach and now husband of Manuela, Francois has had plenty of practice in coaching the Malievas. Coaching your sister-in-law, it seems, is easier than coaching your wife.
Even if it's probably difficult to coach a member of your family like your sister-in-law or your sister, I got used to coaching someone in my family, and it's a lot easier with Maggie than it was with Manuela.
Also credited with her development as a player is Maggie's mother, Yulia, seen here at a '93 Federation Cup match featuring the Malieva dynasty's 3rd tennis-playing member, Katerina.
I'm very grateful to my mother for what she has taught me. I found out many things about myself through tennis, and I'm very happy to have the chance to be such a good player.
Although they insist there's no rivalry among them, comparisons between the 3 sisters are inevitable. As former coach to the oldest and present coach to the youngest, Francois knows the games of 2 of them intimately.
There are similarities. They have two-handed backhands. They're both solid from the baseline, but that's about it. From the mental point of view, Manuela was a very calm and quiet player, and she lacked maybe some aggressiveness in her mind. Well, Maggie is a lot more aggressive. She wants to go for her shots.
With 3 tour titles in the last 8 months, her highest ever ranking, and a belief that she now belongs among the very best players on the WTA Tour, going for her shots is not a policy that has done Maggie Malieva any harm. What she goes on to achieve now, she knows, is down to her.
I want to be in the top 10, I want to be in the top 5, but it's going to be hard, and I have to do all the right things. I have to have the patience and the toughness, and I have to keep working hard. But if I do these things, maybe I have the potential, maybe I'm talented enough, but we'll see.
Green Clay in Houston, Texas. The West Side Tennis Club awaiting the first appearance here of the world's best, Steffi Graf. Broke Steffi's opening service, but the number 1 seed retaliated immediately. The topspin backhand had set it up, but it's this decisive forehand that ends it. Steffi took the first set 6-2 and never looked back. Again, the backhand over the top doing the trick. Steffi's unbeaten in 95 and was heading for her 17th consecutive victory. It had been a towering performance against Hack, who once again this week had been playing like a potential top tenor. 4 games was the most Steffi conceded all week. Her 4th tournament of the year, her 4th final. Åsa Karlsson must have felt she was taking on Superwoman, and the feeling never really went away. The Graf forehand was overpowering, and Åsa's feeling of vulnerability was to get a lot worse. She kept her focus, but Graf was too strong and too quick. Winning points, let alone games, was a significant achievement. But Karlsson was taking on someone in a different league from anyone she'd ever met before. The wind was strong, but it was no special help for her. Every success had to be earned. And by the end, the world number 1 was winning points at will. Karlsson did well to win a couple of games, but here at 1-5 second set, she faced match point. A crushing victory, her 18th in a row. Martina's world record of 74 unbeaten matches, set back in 1984, is under severe threat now. Anyone have any thoughts as to where Steffi might be beaten?
Now let's check out who's won elsewhere on the tour this month. Conchita Martinez started her clay court season in style. And in Japan, Amy Frazier captured her 5th tour title.
In the rankings, Natasha Zvereva's moved down to number 10 to make way for Maggie at her career high of 9. No changes in the middle. Conchita Martinez still at number 4. But it's all change again at the top. With Arantxa out injured, Steffi regains her number 1 spot.
From Houston to Hamburg, Florida to Flinders Park, the life of a tennis pro never stands still. And to most of us, it seems like a great life.
It's always fun to get to travel around and see a lot of different places.
I think they enjoy their travel. From one side of it, it's very good.
Well, I think it's probably pretty fun.
But how much fun is all this globe-trotting? For many, it can have a downside.
Well, you know, it's living like out of a suitcase. You don't see too much of the cities you're in. You sort of see the hotel rooms and they're sort of same every week, and then you go to the courts and practice. So it's not like, you know, it's just one big holiday like some people think it is.
Of course, a lot of times, say, what people see on television tends to be the finals, and they see someone winning and getting a big check. But what they don't see are the players that are out here that maybe win a round or two every so often. And at the end of 12 months, by the time they've paid their expenses of traveling and everything, which is very high, there's not a whole lot they're putting away at the end of the year.
I think generally life on the tennis tour is very hard. You've got a lot of pressures on yourself to do well every week in it, to make money and to earn a living out of it.
All that travelling, all the attention from fans and the media can be wearing, but the pressure to do well on court overshadows everything.
You have this pressure to perform well all the time. And the better you are, the more you have to perform all the time. When you're number one in the world, you are not allowed to lose one single match. And that becomes unbearable. Even if you have the ability of winning almost all the matches you play, if you start thinking about it and you start thinking, I'm not allowed to lose, you're going to lose a lot of matches, no matter how good you are.
The pressures get tougher because as you do better, I think. But the pressure is basically how well you want to do. If you want to win, you sort of put more pressure on yourself.
So when the heat's really on and victory's just round the corner, how do players calm their nerves and win those big points?
I look at my strings when I'm on the clay court. As, let's say we've just had a long point and I, let's say, lost it. What seems to calm me down if I go around and I just sort of smooth out the tough spots that we've left after running back and forth and sort of smooth out the court. That usually helps.
I think generally, of lately, I'm doing a lot of deep breathing through my nose only, and I think that's been helping me a lot. You know, when you breathe through the mouth, and you tend to just get uptight. And I've read lots of books that breathing through the nose is very good, so I've tried it, and it definitely works.
I think it's very important to think, okay, this is my plan. This is how it's going to be this point. I can't think, oh, I'm 30-40, you know, what's going to happen. I can't think of the result. I just have to think of, you know, what I'm going to do, what's going to be my strategy on the next point, and just try to do it, you know. That's the best I can do.
When you're number one, it's the best feeling in the world, but the only way to go is down. Glamorous as it may seem, life at the top can be tough, but the good news is it gets easier with experience.
Living up to expectations is something that is never easy, but most of us deal with it that have a certain amount of talent and maybe show promise early on. Eventually, you learn to deal with it.
Well, here's someone who seems to have dealt with it fairly adequately. After a break, Steffi will move to the red clay of Europe. And while Steffi's taking that rest, watch out for Arantxa to regain the number one spot on her favorite surface. See you next month.